drive is the Maseratis, those Ghiblis, but the insurance is double because it's an exotic car. So anytime, like Sal, for instance, the owner of Pizza Bono,
Yeah.
he drives the Porsche, and no, he has the Ferrari. So, but his insurance is probably $1,000 a month because it doesn't matter. It's you got to pay that exotic insurance. So that's one of the other keys is you can drive an exotic car, Mercedes, Range Rover, BMW.
So the different there's luxury then there's exotic.
Yeah.
I
So
thought the BMW and all those stuff was part of the luxury.
oh no, the BMW ones, those are the luxury ones where the insurance will be
Probably
close to
five.
normal. Just like driving a Toyota Camry is based off of whatever
Or like
they
the
do it on.
Bugatti or some
Yeah,
crazy
but once
shit
you
like
go
that.
that, you know what I mean. So that's one of the keys is and those cars are more comfortable anyway. The Mercedes, the BMWs and stuff. So
Yeah, but you see, just told them that for the line of work you do. Can you tell them what line of work that you do so they understand what you're?
yeah, so right now what we do is we manage foreclosed properties, and from A to Z, it goes from the banks hiring us to see if people are living in the houses, to Z would be probably even rebuilding the house if it went up into flames on our watch. So
Okay.
that's in a nutshell, that's what we do.
What got you into that? Like, it's not something that people just.
Yeah,
jump
I mean,
into.
I've been doing this for about 15 years now. I mean, it's a long story, but maybe I'll rewind this, right? So, I'm from New York, and
What part?
the Bronx.
Uptown.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
170th College Avenue.
It ain't Brooklyn. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, guys.
170. So I lived down there until I was well, actually I was born and raised. I mean, I was born in Manhattan, actually. I was born in Midtown on this little hospital called Polyclinic on 49th Street. I don't think it's a hospital there no more. And my little brother and sister, they was born in Roosevelt on 59th Street. Yeah. So my mom, she, we grew up with, in the Spanish neighborhood. I think we spoke Spanish in the house until I was in the second grade, and that's when we moved to the Bronx.
I'm gonna ask this. I know it's not the topic we're on, but it's a quick question I like to ask people that Spanish was your first language, right?
No.
So English was the first language and you learned Spanish.
Yeah, from what I remember, but because like with me, my first year, it wasn't Spanish; it was black because there wasn't no that. But when my brothers and sisters came, even though all our fathers were Spanish, but now there's a man in the house
That's
speaking
both.
Spanish.
So
my mother at the time, she spoke fluent Spanish.
So it adapted into the family. Okay.
So that that's what I meant. So especially for my brother and sister, they definitely, I don't know how that shit works. Whoever, how you learn the language, but
Yeah, you just learn it through your nurture.
yeah. But when we got to when I was in the second grade, we moved to the Bronx, and that's when all that Spanish stuff left. We went into a black neighborhood, and
Now you speaking slang.
I mean, we had Spanish dudes on the block. We even had white dude on the block. One of my best friends, Jason. His father looked like Hulk Hogan, and
That's how you got to live on the block.
yeah, that thing was no joke. But growing up, the crazy thing is, and you probably can relate. The world was the New York City train map. Remember that? Like,
When I was a kid, I used to be scared. What I used to be scared about? I used to be like, when it's time for me to do my own thing, how am I gonna remember where to go on that map. Like, it used to scare me when it was time for me to move out and do my own thing. I used to be scared, like, 'cause the map used to be so, like...
Well, and that map, later on in my story, it's that map it's a significant part. That's why I bring it up. But, back in those days, we didn't have, like, flat screen TVs and shit. We had the box. We only had, like, 10 channels, 2 channels if you didn't have cable or whatever, however it went. So we didn't, and then if you was bad in school, you didn't pay attention to whatever world map we did have, like, I ain't gonna lie, I was, a little cuckoo, but, yeah, fucking, so we moved to the Bronx when I was in the 2nd grade, and I went to elementary school 53, and I went to the prom with 2 chicks.
When you said that, it didn't surprise me at all. That's the crazy part of the story. It didn't surprise me.
Yeah, in the 5th grade. So, then we went to the 6th grade, and that's when we didn't have gangs back then. We had what we call, like, posses, like, just like a block thing.
When I grew up, same.
Yeah,
there was BMW. And
if you was from the projects, it was a project thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't a gang. It was just your group of motherfuckers that protect their asset, which we thought was our asset, which was the neighborhood. So that was before all the Bloods and the Crips and all that shit. I never thought, that's a
surprise to me too.
Yeah, that was another part of my story in the 90s. I used to say that it would never.
Me too. Me too. I said the same thing.
Yeah, so there was a term I call vacation. So during those times on vacation, you would never think that shit would come over to the
east side.
But anyway, so
I agree.
Yeah, so then I went to a junior high school, 22, and that's when we created this crew called College Avenue Posse, and it was just a whole bunch of us just getting together, just junior high school kids. You know how it is. Running the streets, smoking weed, playing hooky,
following the dumb street code.
Yeah. So, and that was before that. What we get into. So, when I got to the 7th grade, I never went to the 8th grade. When I got to the 7th grade, I called myself being good one day, and we had a substitute teacher, and all the kids. It was just like that movie. What was that movie where the kids in the back like hanging out and shit? Coolio was in it.
What was that Coolio movie? High School High?
Yeah, what was that Coolio movie where the kids was bad and shit?
Living most our life, living in the gangster paradise.
Gangster paradise, yeah. So that's how the school was in the Bronx for certain classes anyway. My class. Yeah. So the guy, he came to me and was like, "Hey, I need you to pay attention." So I was like, "Yo, why don't you talk to the dudes that's in the back, like hanging out, talking and shit? I'm sitting here drawing. I was drawing." And so he winds up putting hands on me, so we wound up fighting and shit in the classroom. I went to the principal office. I hear that they're going to get my mother, so I snuck out of the school where I try to beat them, because if my mother found out, all hell was going to break loose. I get there. I get to my house, which is 3 blocks up. She's already back that way, so I run back to the school, snuck back in. My mother's already fighting with the teacher, and it was his fault. He opened the door, and she was like, "Did you hit him?" And he said, "Yeah, I smacked that little bat, whatever." And that's, she just went there to talk to him. So that's when they started fighting. So then I jumped.
Hold on. You see, I you said your mom came in and she started fighting with the same teacher?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So, because he was like, he put his hands on me. I'm still a child, so, she does that. And so, I get there, and, so we all jump on him and kick me out. So you remember the 600 schools?
Yeah.
None of the 600 schools wanted.
None of them wanted you.
Nah, is he from New York?
Nah, he's from that.
Oh, so none of the 600 schools, you know, we get one per borough or two per borough. They wouldn't take me. So the whole 8th grade, I never went to school. So I wound up going to
homeschooling.
No, I never went to school. I don't remember what I was doing.
You go to detention, that detention program?
No, they kicked me out of school and said, "Don't come back."
All right.
Well, the dude winds up coming to my house, the teacher, and then we beat him up in the building. And then he came back again.
Why do you keep beating up the teacher?
Why he kept coming to the house?
To apologize.
No, he was trying to. He came to the house to issue his court papers.
Oh, okay.
So then the second time he came with the cops. But so you know it was that bad. So, so in the 9th grade, around that time, the New York City wanted to create some type of program for the group homes that was in the school, like the Pyramid House that was in the Bronx. So they needed outside kids so that they could get the government funding. So that, I believe, that was the backstory. So that's how I got into the 9th grade. I was going to like this jail school. Half of them was
that's what I'll talk about.
Yeah. It was at the Cadets on 170th in Jerome. So I helped open up that building. If you know about that school,
the juveniles go.
Yeah, you know about that school? Like I was the first class. Yo, it's funny. Like here goes another thing that I'm first of. And like crazy. I opened up that school, and you know, so that's when like I started experiencing create like the second tier of when you grow up in New York. First is just being a badass kid breaking windows and shit, to now you're getting involved into drugs and guns. And in the 80s, this is when crack came out. So I was growing up through that shit, and so that became involved in my life, and I'm out in the street hustling, just normal badass kid. Yeah. So I wound up being really bad, and a couple of times.
In that academy, I don't know how more bad you can be.
Oh no,
you got worse.
Listen, man.
School ain't help.
Yeah, I get but I guess I can be forefront, because you get the whole picture, right? And because there's so much positive at the end of it, right?
That's the point of it. Yeah.
But and we can see a lot of people don't know the beginning, right? And that is significant.
You gotta show the picture of the concrete before the roads paid.
Yeah. So I had an uncle that came home from jail, and he kind of like gave the same story that all the other older guys did, was, hey, I can make you guys a lot of money, because you always had us, we had a certain amount of people that lived on the block. So I'm like, yeah, sure, just like anybody else, we was just making sneaker money, whatever. Well, anyway, he winds up telling the truth, and we're doing the paid in full part of that movie is we mixed up in it somehow. So anyway, life got a little bit different for a poor ass kid, and guns got involved in everything. So I wind up right at that school. I probably was the first one to shoot at people from that school. I opened the door and everything, and so that happened, and so anyway, a lot of a few other things happened, and then my family was like, we got to get this kid out the city before he ends up dead or in jail.
I was the same. Yeah, mom used to say the same about me. I hear you.
So
thank you, Mom.
Yeah, I have a family member, Keisha and Pam, that actually took me in. My house, our apartment burnt down, so my family moved away from College Avenue, and I was at that age where, like, I'm not leaving.
You're doing too much.
Yeah, they went to a shelter, and I was like living in our clubhouse in the abandoned building and all that. So You know, because no matter how much money you had, it was in a shoebox, and I couldn't get in the
can't
apartment.
go up,
Fucking
yeah.
14, 15 years old. So, one of my, my aunt's cousins, they took me in, and and if it wasn't for them, I would have wound up dead or in jail. That I definitely they know I give them their flowers, and what happened was I continued being bad in their house. So they tell me that this wasn't the story, but the story came from what I recollect is they gave me an ultimatum. So I come home with my girlfriend one night, and this is where the New York City train map comes into play, because they brought me into the room and they said, listen, you either going to go upstate or you're going to get the hell out of our house. And I said, can I talk with my girlfriend? They said, go ahead. This was at 11 o'clock at night. So, and I knew it was late at night. I don't remember what time, but so when I'm in the room with her, I said, hey, they gave me an ultimatum. She's like, what? And I told her, and she said, oh, Yonkers ain't far. Yonkers was on that New York City train map. So we're so young and dumb.
Yep.
We thought that Yonkers was upstate New York.
I as I was telling Kwanzaa, that's it took me forever to realize it was anything past Albany. But and before that, as you saw when I was a kid, it was anything past. You're right, Yonkers. Right.
So I went back in. It was like, yep, I'll go. And I said, can I say goodbye to my friends? And they said, nope.
Train right away, right?
Yep. So 4 or 5 hours later.
I was surprised. I was surprised when you seen winds.
4 or 5 hours later, I wound up in Tupper Lake.
Oh shit! So you went straight from
the Bronx to Tupper Lake.
Surprise, huh?
Yeah.
It was cold.
Yeah. So I was able to be a kid, which I wasn't a kid in New York.
What was the biggest difference for you? Like, I know my difference when I moved up here, but I was way older.
Yeah.
What was your biggest difference? Like, when the first week or two, what was your biggest difference? Mine was people waving at me and the not having to be on point all the time. That was I couldn't control that feeling that I didn't have to be on high alert.
One thing stuck out, which was funny, because when I came up, they were trying to welcome me. So they
waving at you and stuff, right?
No, the family that I was going to. So their idea of welcoming me was sneaking in, I think, beer and cigarette. I don't remember how it went, but I know beer was involved. Milwaukee Best. I'll never forget that. I never heard no shit like that. But I noticed when we were walking out the door, that stopped. And in New York City at the time, we was able to smoke weed in front of the cops and drink in front of the cops. This is before we had to put them in bags and shit. So that stuck out, because I was like, oh shit, you can't come outside. He's like, oh no.
That's right here. This is the water.
Yeah.
I think the waving at you when you went out for the first week and people was saying hi to me, I was like, my cousin was like, nah, that's natural. They're just saying hi to you. I'm like, nah, this something's up.
Yeah, I just felt a big relief, because I was going from a real stressful situation.
That's what, because you were still young, so it was, I felt you saying.
Yeah, and now I was able to I was playing sports and shit, and I wound up being good in sports and shit, and played basketball in high school and college and all that. So
that saved your life coming up here, man.
Yeah, and as I was growing, I wasn't making the best decisions, because it
was programmed. I tell people,
yeah,
you grow from a certain environment. It takes a lot to change, man.
Yeah, so when I came up here, that type of life attracted me.
Yeah.
And, so I kind of migrated towards that. And, but once that part of my life was over, one of the things that I said was, I'm not going to embarrass my children. And
I feel that. I got that same in me. I hear you.
Yeah, and I said that when I was 27, 28 years old. And that's when I was like, that's a wrap. I'm not going to embarrass my children again. So that's when I said, um, I was, what I learned was I was addicted to a lifestyle. I never, I mean, I smoked weed when I was a kid, but, throughout my adult life, I didn't smoke weed. I was a recreational drinker just like anybody else, so I didn't have a drug issue that kind of like slowed me down. And, but, where we come from, you get attracted to that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
It seems like you have to be it to become if I don't know how to put it, but I understand exactly.
So when I say I grew up, when that shit clicked, I said, well, I just need to change the pattern, the whatever train ride that I was on, and I was like,
change your whole mentality.
I can do this legally. And I went to college and everything, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? So and that's when I made that decision. Now, it was easier for guys like us, at this age, or when we were in our 20s and stuff here, because everybody was squares. I used to tell dudes, it's easier for me to say this because I don't know if I could be 22 walking past y'all in the corner making all this money
and not want to make,
and me getting on the bus, that is hard. So it was easier for me, or for us, because everyone up here was going to work and shit.
To be honest, I seen it like that, but when you say it, I feel where you're coming from, but it's also, I believe that everybody needs to get out of the box. I know a lot of people that grew up in the hood and never left that map. That map, that's their whole life. They never passed that map, so they never get to see what you and I see. There's a whole nother life besides that. It took me forever to transform myself to who I am now, because I grew up and I didn't leave when I was a teenager. I was still wilding out until I turned my 20s. So when I came up here, it took a while for me. As I said, somebody waved at me. I was like, yo, something's up. That motherfucker's about to call the cops on me. It was a whole life. That's why I say in that beginning, when I was saying about giving you your flowers, is because I wasn't there where you grew up at, but I know where you grew up at. And being able to go from there and living the way you did, to understand that I could do this, and not only understand it, but do it. I know some guys that sees the light, but they ain't running for it. You run into it. But Kiko, you just go on what you're saying.
So, where was I?
Once you realize that you went to college to
so I took the regular route like everybody else did. I went and got a job and shit. But it was the hustle in me, and I was one of my good friends. Actually, two of my good friends. I think you was one of them. I feel proud when I wear this hat, because somebody else was just recently. If it wasn't you, it was two people recently. Was like, you a boss. Because you actually giving motherfuckers opportunities.
That's what a real boss supposed to do. Yeah.
But anyway, so so I went and got a job and shit, and but the way, so I want to give these examples, and it's about the hustling. That's what I was getting at. Sorry, I was getting off track. But I remember, I was forced to go to this job, and I walked in with my steel-toe boots because the recruiter was like, I know this is not the type of job we was waiting for, but this has to happen because of whatever. And I was like, yeah. So I went in, and it was a pick and pack job, right? So I did the first shift, and at lunchtime, instead of going out with all the cool dudes and stuff, I went to the office, because what the recruiter told me, she was like, hey, listen, this is a new company. They're from Canada. They're a new company, and maybe you can help them, So I had my resume. So I went right in there and said, hey, listen, this is who I am. And not for nothing, like I don't, basically, not knocking them, but I don't want to do that stuff.
Yes.
This,
I got more to offer.
There was a one girl in the office. So at the time, Word, Excel and Word was popular. It was just started, like we were just changing from like DOS or some shit. But I like, that was one of the things that I learned to the point where like, I didn't learn anything else. Like that right there, learning Microsoft Word, Excel, that at the time was better than my whole college degree.
You got your friend
Yeah, just learning that thing. So, message, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, one of the, QuickBooks, for instance, I was just talking to someone, just learning that program can get you a $50,000 or $60,000 job, So anyway, so that's what I learned that. And the lady, Kim, thanks, Kim, she actually hired me. And so I was like her assistant or something. So, that was the hustle, the hustle and bustle. So one time, life is great. Me and my brother, we saved a little bit of money, and we was like, he was working at Bombardier at the time, and we was like, what's crazy? Mm-hmm. I totally skipped the fact that me and Victor opened up a
restaurant,
the fast food restaurant. Yeah, I was fucking.
I heard about that.
I think I was 20 years old. Yeah, I think that was my first legal business. Because that, that's what I was getting at. The point was that I just changed.
What made you get to the like? You just woke up in the morning like, hey, we're gonna do a fast food restaurant.
No,
was it a dream?
No, not for me. It was just the opportunity
that you seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were able to talk to Peter Whitbeck. He was the landlord at the time, the father, and he actually gave us the opportunity, and we bought the equipment that was in there and stuff from whoever, I forget what it was, but yeah, we stayed open for about a year, and we learned how hard it is to run a business. Yeah,
it takes a lot.
Yeah, because I was in college still at the time. That's why I totally forgot. See,
so you was going to college and doing the business.
Yeah,
that's double. Man.
That was that. The reason why I forgot was because that was before I even decided to be an adult. Like when I jumped from, but I still had that hustle in me. But I was just, you can't live both lives, and that's what I was doing throughout my teens and my early 20s, trying to live.
That's why I'm double that age, and I'm still trying to learn that one. You can't live both life, man.
Yeah.
even if you have a toe in the water, it's still dangerous. It's still not productive in the end. You got to figure out what path and stick to it. But after the restaurant, you said it happened for a year. What happened after that?
Yeah. So fast forward to when me and Vic, me and my brother, we was like, we want to do something. We had, I think we had like $10,000 saved up just from, saving money, and we decided to open up a car dealership. And you will not believe this, but we was doing buy here, pay here before that shit was even a concept.
That was no. Cause I remember I think he did another one before. I remember your brother having.
That's something after.
That was after, okay.
Or if that's not after, this is part of the story that I'm saying. This was about like the early 2000s.
No, it was after.
Yeah. So, we did that, and that stayed open for about a year or two. We, lived and learned, and just made bad money moves, but
Only way to learn. Only way to learn.
But I think one of your original questions was, you know, like, you know, you wanted me to lead up to, you know, how
How'd you get to the, yeah.
you know how you know as far as what the business side of things go today. So you know one of my recent businesses was my marketing business, and this is the company that I opened up. This is when I first felt like I was being successful, and you know, I opened up that company and here in Plattsburgh, and once again, it's about the hustle, right? So when I was in between jobs, and I applied for this sales job from a company from Canada, and it was selling advertising on folders. So I was like, you know, maybe let me research this. I can do this shit myself. I can make my own folders. So what I did was, because I didn't even know where to get the folders printed, but I knew what the folders looked like, I went to Staples and bought the high quality folder. I found some business cards that was in there. I had Staples make the business cards, put them on the high quality paper, and I took the paper and
Did you glued it on the folder?
well, I didn't glue it. I made the copies and put in it, and I walked. I don't even remember if I had a car, but I walked to one of the first real estate offices, and I think it was Century 21. He told me to get out. I wasn't prepared, obviously. So I went down to the other one. But what I did was I said, hey, listen, I can take these cards that's on this fold paper, and I can put them on folders just like this, and you know, that can be the end result.
And did somebody follow
Yeah.
through? Yeah.
So I walked down to Century 21 told me to get out, you know. So I walked down to I can't think of his name, but he was nice. He said that, you know, the type of folders he used is not the same quality. So he was basically, you know, I didn't know that.
What was a higher quality they were doing?
He used like paper quality. These folders were like the
metallic.
plastic, hard stuff, laminated. And so I went to Remax, and the owner was like, hold on for a sec. So she comes out, and she throws all these folders on the conference room desk. Now, mind you, I walked in there with a white folder and a piece of paper. And she said, you mean do them like these? And I'm like, cha! I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. And she was like, you know, I would like to do business with an American company and not a Canadian company, because that's where she got these from. So she was my first client. And then I said, can I grab a couple of these? She gave them to me, and I went to the next one. So now I had the product. Yeah. So, you know, I wound up getting a Rainbow Banquet Hall. You know, I got a few insurance companies. I got a few companies. So then, you know, I extended my product line, and I was like, you know, this is when digital signage first came out and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I put a few TVs up at the, you know, like at the YMCA and the hotels, like the Days Inn and stuff, selling advertising. I use that same concept, giving you something for free, and I sell the advertising. I had one in the coffee cat. That's where my office was for a few years. But so, you know, once again, you know, I just got creative on a hustle. I did research and, you know, that type of stuff.
That's a smart idea, man.
Yeah. Now, fast forward to what I'm doing today. You know, I had to figure out a way to make money, because I was taking care of one of my foster mothers, and she had a stroke. So you know, I bumped into this concept, and I went to work for someone like me out in Watertown, and you know, I come back to work in this area doing inspections, you know, managing that first concept of managing foreclosed properties. But I didn't know I was doing, you know. Mm-hmm. So, But I was like, damn, I can probably, let me do some research, like they got a client, So 6 months, fast forward 6 months later, I went from doing 400 inspections to almost 10,000 inspections. And I had like 25 clients, and I was doing
that 6 month span, you just kept moving and progressing.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, but give or take.
But it was within a year. I just kept, that was my whole thing. Like it reminded me of the game because it's how you see what we in, like it's just a whole bunch of dots and orders and addresses. So. And they just keep giving me more and more as I complete them.
Keep feeding those custies.
Yeah. So, that's what got me into the real estate game. And then, I wound up going to work for one of my clients, and I moved out of town, and I lived in Connecticut, and for like 10 years, and that in itself was an experience because you probably seen it. I was like traveling the fucking country, flying over. I lived in Puerto Rico for a year, taking care of these houses and stuff, and
that was a great experience.
It was. I lived in Texas for a few months. I lived in Louisiana for a few months. So I got to experience a lot of stuff. So, when COVID hit, the world is starting to slow down, and so did our industry, because what happened with our industry, we just for lack of
doors no more.
No, well, we have two products, and one of them was what we call REOs, and those houses are being resold by the banks. So, when those houses got sold, the other product was what we call PNP. Those, you couldn't kick the people out. So
that's true, because with the rent thing.
So as our houses that we was selling went away, we didn't have nothing to replenish. So a lot of inventory was going down and stuff. So I made a few moves when because I was invested in real estate and stuff in Connecticut, and I was learning that game. But I didn't get this from Elon Musk, but Elon Musk says this now. He goes, I didn't go to Harvard, but everybody I work for does. He's like, listen, you can go to YouTube right now and learn anything the hell you want, right? So, what I started to do right before COVID was hitting, I said, I'm gonna stop listening to the radio while I'm driving, and I'm gonna stop talking to people while I'm driving, and I'm gonna start listening to these podcasts and all these, all this information. And I picked topics. I picked mortgage. I picked real estate. I picked insurance. I picked everything that I was doing, and I learned it from the T to become an investor. Grab any, what the hell I don't know, because for so many years I thought that, that I knew a lot of stuff, and I probably did, but I didn't know the stuff that I learned these last 4 years of just driving and literally soaking in that knowledge, man, because I drive 4 hours. I was getting classes built, and I was buying stuff.
That's a smart idea.
And listening to that stuff.
That's a good idea.
Because one of the people said, like, you spend $20,000 to go to school, but you won't spend $1,000 to learn what these gurus are saying. So I was buying stuff and literally learning it because I was investing in myself. And so, how I came back home, to Plattsburgh, to how you call it, the North
Nation.
Yeah, the North Nation. I honestly wanted to give back. I said, damn, I have a lot of this knowledge that, I know a lot of people that are great middle class people
that just need
that don't know the benefits of real estate and things of that nature. So that was one of the reasons why I came back, because I said, I soaked up all this knowledge, I can get back that way. And so when I came back, I said, you know what, I'm gonna open up my company again. I got the master plan, and I'm gonna give everybody the opportunities, and and that's why I'm here. You know, so I mean, anything specific, I can.
How like my thing with I heard everything you just said, and I love it. My thing is when you think about how you was making money back then to how you making money now. Besides the being on the books, what's the difference? Did you understand the question?
Yeah.
Difference.
I mean, the difference. I mean, one of the differences is that I don't have to fucking look over my shoulder. I mean, that in itself was just so much pressure. I couldn't even imagine living like that, where your life is like a knife, where you can just feel the pressure, like the air. When you walk outside, it's just that's the type of like you can cut the pressure with a knife with the air, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So but I again, now that I have a product that I make decent money with, I'm actually able to give people opportunities. That is a major difference, because as my company grows, I need people to help us grow. Yeah.
When you say about opportunities, because I know me and you talked about, because let them know about, you mean real opportunities. Like some people open up a company, like, I'm gonna give a guy opportunity, and it just means you making me more money. You're talking about having people invest and get money back, and not only just giving them the 9 to 5.
Yeah, like, so my company, I don't no one works for me, they work with me. Everyone I would like to be a partner, because what I find myself is, I have to be, when you're doing business, you find yourself doing business with people that's doing business. So now that I come home, there's a lot of people that I familiarize myself with that's not doing business. So one of the things that I said to myself was, giving back is, I can give the opportunity, but also share a lot of that knowledge, because
real opportunity.
Yeah, because when you are, like, when your credit is good like mine, and you understand credit, and you learn the steps to business credit stuff, now we can talk, because not only are you working with me to get that cash flow, now we might can invest in the property.
You can help me.
Yeah,
we can help each other. It's that old Jay-Z saying from, I can remember a song, if everybody was strong, each other would be each other's crutches. I think I said it.
I just said that to my son this morning.
Yeah, me and my partner Rex say that to each other all the time.
And the thing that we're going through. I just said that to him this morning. Why is it? I said Jay-Z just said it. And Kiss just said it about having like everyone around you eat. I just had that discussion. So that's what I wanted to do with this company. Give everybody the opportunity. I'm very transparent and stuff, and but I wanna eventually, when we have our office and stuff, have those courses or whatever, all the whole spew.
But before he has his courses, we're gonna have a couple of sessions, or we're gonna teach y'all. I'm being 100% about this. And especially to my dudes that's out there and living a certain way, that money that you're making, you can make more of it a different way. He will show you. You could clean that money up. You know that old saying, you don't die for a block you don't fucking own. All right, that's what I want to say for that moment. But as we was going on, when you started getting into it, how like, it's for me, I feel it's hard to go into, I don't want to call them the white man because make it racist, but go to them and be like, hey, give me a chance. I just feel like they're gonna slam the door. Where did you get that confidence to be like, yo, I got this? They gotta listen to me now. You know what I'm saying? Like, from where we're from, all we had was teachers, or cops that was white talking to us to tell us how fucked up we were.
Yeah, but see now, so that's the experience that, you know, me and you probably didn't have, because even though when I came up here as a teenager, you know, and I was still kind of like living the same lifestyle, but I was also learning a whole different life.
That's what difference. You came out when you was a teenager. You said,
yeah, you know, so that in itself probably made it easier for me to do business. Yeah, okay. Because I was learning a whole different, you know, everybody from my hood called me corporate. I just say, yo, I'm a corner boy on a corner office.
that's what I'm trying to get myself a silk tie too. So what's your next adventure? What you going for after this?
Yeah, so the company that we're building now, you know, I think we're going to be building $1 million company, and I'm thinking that we be building that within, you know, like by next year. You know, because as you can see, we already cover from here to Watertown. We just picked up all of northern Vermont, and now we also have you know, the Spring Valley area, and so the whole point is to just connect the dots all the way up. But once we start, you know, physically managing the properties and stuff, where we're actually doing the repairs in the neighborhood and stuff, that's gonna increase the revenue tenfold.
So you can hire more people and
yeah, and there's a lot of commission opportunities too, you know, because as we grow, everybody's gonna grow. Because, you know, again, my selfishness is I want, you know, and my way of giving back is, you know, like we have to have these talks because, you know, I'm not having these talks. So, you know, and I want to have these talks with my people. And that's why, you know, I give those opportunities first. And it seems like as I'm growing my business, there's always someone from us, you know, that we know giving another person an opportunity, which is great. But the product that we have is all over the damn country, so we can just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But
it's kind of like drugs; it's everywhere. And when like that's that. But you don't have no other adventures outside of that market. Like you're not trying to do anything else. Let them know what else you're trying to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I always, you know,
looking for something.
When I was living in Connecticut, we was flipping a house like every month or two.
How easy is that? I know people that do that. Is it? I mean, easy, because nothing is easy in this world when it comes to making money. But how like, can you just jump into that, or is it like you have to sit down for 3-4 hours a day driving, listening to somebody before you do it?
No, it's you know, and again, it's because I've been doing it so long, so I don't remember. You know, it's always hard, but I don't remember when I was in kindergarten doing this, like how hard it was, because it was a different hard.
Yeah.
But you know, but that's the thing, like, you know, with me, you're gonna have 15 years of experience doing this. So when you know, hopefully we're going to be buying a 5-bedroom house in Malone, and if that deal might fall through, we have one that we should be closing this week, not closing but signing on the contract in Denimora, and that one is going to need repairs. So, you know, that is the other adventure that I do, is, you know, investing in real estate.
It's because right now inflation, all that stuff, and if you go to Lowe's, it's like before it was like $10 for a piece of wood. Now it's 10,000. So does that affect when you flip into houses? Because now you have to put more money into it to fix it, right?
True, but we
so
still
is it still worth it?
We still do our work when the gas prices go up. You know, it's just a different, you know, is it worth it? Yeah, I mean,
it still will be worth it.
Do we spend more money? Of course we do, but, you know, sometimes you can sell it for more, and, you know, the rents are higher. I mean, there's a lot of parts of that equation.
So it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
To make it be worth it. That's the problem. And it was a great pleasure to have Ty Spencer here. Yeah, before we leave right now, I want to let everybody know that this man is trying to give out opportunities. So just let them know where they could go to get this opportunity. He is hiring, and it is. I've done it before. It's something that is easily done, and you probably enjoy it. So let them know where exactly they could go to get the information.
Well, one place they can leave a message with
yeah, you can leave it with us on North Nation.
Yeah.
On our box, and while you're on there, subscribe.
Yeah, or they can send me a text message. I don't mind giving out my cell phone.
Be careful with that, because the ladies will be texting you. Just letting you know. Go ahead.
It's my business phone. 203-651-9426.
Say it again slower. So
area code 203-651-9426.
All right. So if you need a job and you have a driver's license, get in contact with this man.